Hello and welcome to this episode of Essex by the Sea. I'm Owen Ward, exploring the Essex coast, finding out about the amazing and interesting stories it has to offer. Don't forget, tell your friends all about the podcast and encourage them to hit the subscribe button, just as you hopefully have done as well. Now, it's known as the Sunshine Coast, and certainly it's renowned for being a popular tourist place. But our tourist places around the Essex coast have perhaps struggled during the pandemic and certainly seen some changes over the last 12 months. Clacton is no exception, and I'm joined by Paul Nash, who owns a number of businesses around the Tendering Coast. Paul, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Now, predominantly, you own and run the website Things to Do in Clacton, and we had lots of people having staycations over the last few months. Has that driven a lot of people to your website?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's going to now because obviously, there is going to be a lot of people staying. I mean, and like Clacton Pier, for an example, I've put millions and millions into that into the pier, and that's going to be a fantastic attraction. Everyone's going to be around here, and we have actually got the largest search term worldwide for people and families visiting a destination. So, it's not just Things to Do in Clacton. We've got Things to Do in Tendering and Colchester and Essex and London and Cardiff and Peterborough. And we've just launched in Things to Do in Kissimmee in Florida and Nairobi in Africa. So we're taking this around the world. And, it's really exciting times, and I must say about Clacton, as I mentioned, I had a zoo here, I had a children's zoo here in the Martello Tower. And I've absolutely fell in love with Clacton. I've been here 20 years. After coming back from America, I had a business in Orlando. My mum bought a guest house in Clacton. I'm from Tottenham originally. So when we come back, we ended up in Clacton, and it's been absolutely fantastic for me. And, I'm always trying to promote Clacton. So Things to Do in is not just an attractions-based business or tourism. It's also a local online business advertising directory. So, you can put things on Google like, say, mobile key cutting, house clearances Clacton, car body repairs Clacton. It just goes on and on and on. So we're also helping all the local businesses, and we're doing that throughout our sites. We've got thousands of organic page one Google search terms for businesses. And we just charge £30 a month, no contract. So that's what we're doing to help businesses and the attractions. And the other great thing is all the towns and cities linked together for maximum exposure. So we are looking for some, record visits to the sites because of the name Things to Do in.
I was going to say that the website seems to be ballooning massively. You mentioned some of the places that you're expanding to. We'll perhaps come on to that in a moment. But how did it actually all begin? What made you think, hang on a minute, we need to start a website here that promotes Clacton and now other places as well?
Well, I'll tell you what it was, right? I'll tell you I'll try and keep this as quick as possible. I had a business in Orlando. I had a cleaning company in Florida, right? And everything was going great. But I was in 3 years there, I was paying $400 a month for an advert in a big directory over there, which was like our Yellow Pages, the book version. This is in the year 2000, say roughly 2001 when I come back. Anyway, I was paying all that money for them years. And do you know what? I never got one phone call from that directory because it's called Sprint in Florida, and it's massive. I mean, it's about 4 times thicker than the Yellow Pages. So anyway, and when I got back to the UK and I opened a zoo at the Martello Tower on Clacton Seafront by the pier, and it was a children's zoo. And I said to my wife, we're never going to make that mistake again. So every person who come to that tower to see the animals, they got asked the first question, hi, how many of you are there? Would you like any food to feed the animals? And how did you hear about the zoo? Because I was really interested in making sure that if I spent any money on marketing, I must get the correct places. And do you know what? I'll just tell you now, I've been into marketing for quite a while now. And that's one of the biggest mistakes most businesses make. They don't inquire enough about where their leads are coming from. Anyway, we've done that for 3 years. My wife just ticked down been before, local, recommended, and internet. These were the main places it was coming from. And I went past one day and opened up the book, and it was all from, I said, everybody's coming from the internet. So anyway, that the next person who come up to the box office, I asked them a question. I said, how did you about the zoo? She said, internet. I said, can you tell me what the actual search term was that you found it, what you typed in? She said, yeah, we just typed in Things to Do in Clacton. The next person, the same thing. The next person, the same thing. I said to my wife, we've got advertised on Things to Do in Clacton. So I typed that in on my computer there and then. Up come TripAdvisor, which was probably one of their biggest search terms. Day Out with the Kids. I was on both these platforms for my zoo. But you know, I said to my wife, do you know, there ain't a thing to do in Clacton. Then I checked, there wasn't one in Southend or Skegness or Chelmsford or Colchester or anywhere. So I ended up, I actually sold my house and started buying these all around the world. And I've got them all around the world. So whether it's, in Miami or Kenya or Bulgaria or the Outback or wherever, I've bought these all around the world. And that's how we actually come up with it, because I was inquiring to make sure that we knew where our money was going on our advertising.
That's an amazing story, because actually it's such a simple concept, and I can picture the scene there. You know, the family's turning up to the zoo. I've done it myself, you know, when we've been on holiday in other parts of the country, and you sort of think, right, okay, what should we go and explore, what should we go and have a look at, and you put into Google or whatever your chosen search engine is, and search things to do where you are, and up pops quite often a few places. But your website now is I suppose leading that charge to get people to the attractions, and as you now say, you know, the other businesses around the town.
Yeah, it's funny how it worked out, because that's exactly what I started it for. Because I thought, yeah, let's get a right good attraction sites all over the place, and we've done that. But we started adding a few businesses on. Like, I think the very first business I ever put on my site was Clacton Pier, and I think the other one was the Clacton Factory Outlet. Anyway, we put a couple of other businesses on, and all of a sudden I noticed that they were all getting ranked high. So we actually become an online business directory as well. So we serve two main purposes, and that's one, helping businesses. So if you typed in, say, vape shops Clacton or ladies boutique or anything like that, so we're all about getting people back into the shops, and we're also helping businesses online. You know, and I mean, you can't put anything in. If you typed in, say, well, it's just endless. If you any subject or any business or product or service you type in, you'll probably find things to do come up, as well as the things to do in. You know, so it's worked out really well, and we're actually now going to try with local governments all over the UK to see if we can help with their economic development. You know, because of after COVID, most boroughs are having trouble getting, you know, the tourism is a big thing for all towns and cities. That's a major one. And also about getting people back into the shops and getting businesses found. I mean, remember, we charge £30 a month, and we also advertise them on our social media. Every business gets a one-page website that links to their website, which massively increases their SEO. All of our towns and cities linked together for maximum exposure. So they're getting you know, I don't think there's anyone else in the UK, and in fact, I can say this, I don't think there's anyone else in the world doing what we're doing.
Now, you mentioned that the pandemic obviously has affected the tourism industry heavily. We saw the sort of relaxations back in 2020, relaxed over the summer period, and we saw massive amounts of people flocking to the likes of Southend and Clacton and our Essex coast. How, from your perspective, obviously you're well connected with lots of these businesses and that, how do you think the recovery is going to go for our Essex coastal towns, with hopefully another influx in 2021 of people coming to the coast, because they can't go abroad for their holidays?
That's right. Well, I mean, I think we still got to be very careful, because if you've noticed, in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, it's been steadily rising again in tendering. So you know, it's nowhere near to what it was a couple of months ago, but it was always on a decline right the way through to about a week or so ago, or a couple of weeks ago, and it started climbing back up again. So I think we've got to be really careful, and as long as people don't think, you know, like they said this morning on the telly, you know, keep that social distance, be cautious, because if we just completely go back, and I know it's very easy to do so, and start forgetting about this because we think it's over, it could really regress things and could possibly put us back into a lockdown. So I think, or another lockdown. So I think we really have to be careful. On the other hand, I'm really excited for people like Clacton Pier, that have spent absolutely millions over the last few years, and I feel so sorry for them. You know, to have to be closed after all the work and effort and everything. Because, you know, I don't know if a lot of your listeners realise this, but Clacton Pier is the largest pleasure pier in Europe. It's 6.5 acres of fun. And the whole front part of it is all enclosed now. So this is all year round, which it's never been before. It's completely warm all year round. So it's a whole thing. So it's a fantastic attraction in tendering. And, you know, and yeah, like I say, I felt sorry for them being closed, but hopefully they're going to have a bumper year as long as we be a little bit careful.
Yeah, I know that the owners of the pier there at Clacton have invested heavily in the facilities and the experience people can have. And do you think it's the experience that people want? I think perhaps the lockdown has realised, we've all been stuck in our homes, that actually we just want an experience. No matter what that is, we want to experience life and live life to the full, perhaps, as we come out of the pandemic.
That's it. But we've got so much here on the Sunshine Coast anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's a fantastic place. Like I said, Clacton's probably the driest part of the UK. So if you're going to come up here, the chances are you're going to have a dry holiday. So that's one really great benefit. It's not that far from London. There's so many things to do. There are so many different things to do here, and it can be something as simple as walking along the beaches. Do you know what I mean? And I'll go out cycling along the beaches all the time, and I'll cycle up to Walton. We've got Walton Pier, and we can't forget about Walton Pier. Walton Pier, are here, and it's only a couple of miles up the coast. And then you've got Frinton, all the shops around Frinton to visit, and Harwich. So we've got Walton, Harwich. I mean, Harwich is a beautiful town. I often go up there and walk about myself, and they've got loads of shops, and you've got all the coast and cafes on the docks there and everything else. So there's so much to do in the whole of Tender, and it's absolutely a fantastic place. I mean, Jaywick, the beaches there are phenomenal. They're absolutely gorgeous, pure sand beaches with bits of grass and things like that on there. It just absolutely like the sand dunes and that. So it's a great place to visit.
It's funny you mentioned Jaywick beaches there. You're the second guest in 16 episodes that's mentioned the beaches at Jaywick and how nice they are to visit. It's one place I've not actually managed to get to yet, so hopefully maybe this year it'll be the year. If you could pinpoint one place, perhaps on the Tendring coast, that you would really encourage people to come and visit, where would that be?
I must go for the pier. I don't think people realise how. I know I sound like I've got shares in the pier because I mentioned it, but I actually used to run the Sea Life Aquarium on Clacton Pier when Billy Ball first took it over. Billy didn't really know too much about animals and fish and tropical fish and all them sort of things. So I ran that for him for 2 years to help him out, and so I saw what condition that pier was in and what it looked like in 2009. And if you could take a snapshot from 2009, including the aquarium, and took a snapshot now, you would be absolutely amazed. It's a complete different. And what I'd like is anyone that has been up to the pier, 10 years ago, to come and see what's happened to it now. It is. They've got a golf course, a mini golf course that goes in and outside the pier, so you can go undercover and it's outside. They've got bump and cars up on the first floor. They've got everything there. So I really want people to come and see how fantastic. It's a fantastic day out. But I mean, there's loads of other stuff to do, like I say, and and to visit Walton Pier while they're up here, and to go to Frinton along the shops if they want, and they're beautiful beaches up in Frinton as well. And it's just so much to do here.
Paul, you really are the man to encourage people to come to Clacton, quite literally, with your website, with things to do in Clacton and things to do in insert place, because it's expanding all over the world. Paul, thank you ever so much for joining me on Essex by the Sea. Really appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully once restrictions have eased a bit more, perhaps we can come up to Clacton and come and have a look around, and you can show us the sights in person.
Yeah, well, make sure you do and come to my tower, because, like I say, we've got some big plans for the Martello Tower, which is only really a stone's throw from the pier, and it'll be exciting. I look forward to meeting you.
Paul Nash from the Things to Do In website, which started off in Clacton, joining me here on Essex by the Sea. Don't forget, an episode lands on the 1st and 15th of each month, and make sure you've hit subscribe so that you don't miss them. Till next time, thanks for listening.